Welcome to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite college football podcast. I'm your host, Jerome Jones, and we got my man, the myth, the legend. You already know who he is, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We got a big announcement that actually came out today, around 12 o'clock today, Eastern Time. And it's actually going to be a first-time reaction because Ray has no idea what's going on. So you guys been living under rock. 2023 quarterback from Michigan, Dante Moore, it has committed today. And Ray don't know who he committed to. So it's gonna be really fun to see how this goes. But we're gonna be talking about some, that we're gonna be talking about the switching of conferences for some teams. We're gonna talk about some coaching. We're gonna have fun today. But Ray, how was your week, man? How are you feeling about entering a little bit closer and closer to football?
Well, I'm always excited about that. July and August are rough months for me because they are coming. You come down the stretch for football season, but it's really hot right now, and
Yeah,
it's not fun this time of year. I mean, I prefer the hot weather over the cold weather, but right now it's waiting for football to come, and I'm excited about it. I just wish it would. I don't like at my age. I don't like to wish time away. So kind of take
yeah.
it, pump the brakes, take it one day at a time. But
Yeah, I mean, this is about to get very slow time right now. That July going into August time is always the roughest for. I honestly, I just think in general, as sports in general, because basketball is not going no more. Free agency kind of it's in the middle of it right now for basketball. Football, obviously, there's not much until training camp already starts, which actually starts in like 2 weeks in NFL wise. Then you don't have that much going on with baseball because they kind of early in the season, so it's not that much news with baseball. Hockey just ended. It's not a lot for sports during the summer. I think the good thing about that is that when you go on vacation, you don't have to worry about your sports. But it is a slow time for a lot of us, and obviously for people that like me and you that like talking football. It's a long process. And it's crazy. There you go. It's further down the line, so it's gonna be just like a long wait. So, but Ray, let's get right into it, man. We're gonna talk about it. You ready for the reveal?
yep.
All right, let's go. Let's. Dante Moore has officially committed to Oregon. If you haven't heard, he committed to Oregon. So we're gonna talk about it, Ray. Obviously, I wanted him to my team. He's a home guy, being in Michigan. Would have thought that he was in Michigan early on, and then it looked like it was gonna be the Spartans at one point, and then the Fighting Irish kind of moved in, and for a while it looked like you guys. Then y'all just got Carr. So then once Carr kind of went to you guys, it was like it kind of got back in the air a little bit, but then Oregon got a late strong push, and they landed him. So, what's your takeaway from that, Ray?
I had heard earlier or sometime yesterday that Oregon may be the new front runner.
Mm-hmm.
I just was a little bit didn't know really exactly how to feel because you'd heard like different teams over the last couple of weeks. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I don't know. I mean, it is a team that runs a good offense, a lot of spread, So I guess that way it works out for them. They were a good solid. They've been a good solid team for a few years now. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good program. Good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, good for him. I think they're getting some good pieces in Oregon. A guy that we interviewed, Jerron Dickey, just committed, I think 2 months ago. 4-star wide receiver, really good guy. He's playing out his mind. He's been at some of the overtime 707s and just been balling out. I think he's 6'2", 6'3", something like that. crazy speed. So to pair him up with Dante Moore, that's gonna be very, very interesting to see. Oregon got some good players coming, at least offensively. Defensively, they got some guys, but it wasn't like world breaking kind of guys. But offensively, they're looking good, and that Oregon is a offensive team. They always have been. And I think it's a good spot for a quarterback to go to. So I can't blame him for wanting to go there. Honestly.
I mean, it's a good program. I mean, they
Yeah.
do again. They have had some quality quarterbacks there, as college players for sure.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I'm a little surprised that he didn't go to an East Coast type of a team. That surprised me a little bit. I honestly thought that at one point it was going to be either Notre Dame or Michigan.
Yeah.
And then I heard that he preferred Michigan State over Michigan. So I figured, well, maybe Michigan State, maybe Notre Dame. And really, after C.J. Carr committed to Notre Dame, that
What's
was
going on, James? Thanks for being in here, man. Appreciate you being here, checking
no.
us out. Thanks, man.
Yeah, after the C.J. Moore committed to Notre Dame, you heard complete that. After that, he was out.
Correct.
Their families don't get along. They're not fans of each other, and that Notre Dame was going to be out of the running now. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that whole situation was kind of weird to be honest, but I do think that it is a thing. Obviously Oregon's gonna be the king of the Pac-12 at this moment. I think maybe at the moment obviously the other teams didn't move out yet, and we are gonna talk about that. James said, will there be any more Pac-12s or ACC in the future? I'm guessing if he's asking if there's gonna be any more Pac-12 teams to go to the ACC. It's possible. I don't know, man. It's just so fluent right now. It just seems like honestly we might just have four. I'm gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about it in a little bit. We're gonna talk about it a little bit. But to get back on the DJ Moore thing, I mean, um, yeah, I think the whole dynamic is just weird with how the families didn't like each other, and there's a lot of rumors and talks outside of like just football with a lot of the families outside of the kids. So it was a weird kind of dynamic. I am glad the kids finally got their spots, and hopefully it's the spots that they wanted, not their parents or anybody else's. And it wasn't anything influenced by them. I think that's the worst thing that you can do for a kid is to. It's one thing to guide them. It's another thing to kind of pressure them to go to somewhere else or pressure them not to go somewhere. Let them choose. It's their future, their next 4 years, and it's all about their comfort. So, parents, if you are listening to this, please, please, please do not do that to your kids. Allow them to go where they want to. If it disappoints you, that's one thing, but it's ultimately their decision. So please let that be the thing.
I mean, it's just funny how last week we were talking about Arch Manning, and you could see he went to Texas, and that was totally something he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Where I'm not saying Dante Moore didn't want to go to Oregon because I don't know him personally, but I do think that, like you said, they were like a last minute type thing, and I would just like to know what was that one thing that turned him towards Oregon. That's all.
Correct. Yeah, and I honestly I haven't seen the press conference yet. But I definitely do think that there was definitely something that was there. It had to be something that sparked him because like me and you said, right? Like we heard about the rumors about a month ago, and I was like, I think that's when CJ Carr committed to you guys about a month ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the connection was gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, there was all kinds of talk about Carr's family's not getting and Moore's family not getting along. Also, that Carr's mom was the one who came out and said something about Michigan.
Yeah.
Why would any quarterback want to go to Michigan when all they do is turn around and hand the ball off 30 times? I mean,
apparently there was a tweet that went out, and she said that she was hacked, and it wasn't her. Now Say what you want about that. I'm not gonna get into it, but
If it was
kind
her account, if it was her account that was hacked, how is it that an hour later it was already off? It's almost impossible. But again,
of
I'm just giving you the information that I heard
correct.
that was reported to me.
These are things that we're just hearing and
Correct.
correct. We don't
I
know
mean,
for
I
sure.
don't. I listen to podcasts. I listen to like the stuff that we put out there, but I listen to other people. Of course, I listen to college football ones, especially ones regarding our teams. And because of the area I live in, I hear a lot of stuff about the Big Ten.
Correct.
So it's fine, you know. And I respect all the teams in the Big Ten. So I like hearing the information. It just bothers me when I think when parents want to tell the coaches how to run their team, that's when they need to go in their place and realize they're parents, not coaches. If it were that easy, they'd all be coaching teams.
No,
Okay,
100%.
it's not that easy. So
100%. 100%. All right, let's get to our next topic. Give me 1 second. The Pac-12 as it is now. Let's get to some other Pac-12 teams right now because we got a big bomb right after our podcast last week about USC
mhm.
and UCLA looking to move to the Big Ten. That is very interesting. And actually, I think it's official now because I believe both teams said they were going to Big Ten. Like they're both teams put on Twitter, "Hey, we're looking forward to being in the Big Ten now." Ray, I want to know what's your initial thoughts on that. Like, what was your first reaction when you heard this news?
I don't understand why they would want to do it, but again, I don't know them programs as personally as I do again the Big Ten or Notre Dame.
Correct.
I mean, I don't understand why you would want to move to the Big Ten. It's a better conference than you're playing in right now. And again, we're not talking about two teams that are dominating their conferences. So why would they want to move up in competition? I
Mm-hmm.
don't get that. I
Yeah.
mean, I do think that they recruit Big Ten type players out there. They do. I just don't understand why you would want to like when it was first reported last week. I think you wait till the first time they got to go across country 2 or 3 times in
Yup.
4 weeks. They're
Yup.
like, man, what are we doing here? Like
Yup.
I don't, I don't understand. I mean, I, I mean, as much as I think that Texas and Oklahoma were dumb to move to the SEC, I regarding recruiting, I kind of understand it a little bit. This move makes no sense to me. If you're UCLA and USC, you're getting players from out there because you're those teams. Now you want to compete with Big Ten teams for Big Ten players.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how that's an advantage to you. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah. I mean, just the thought of kids having to travel that much. I mean,
I
they're college kids,
mean,
still kids, and they still got to go to school. They still got this and that. And for them, like if you look at, I think the closest Big Ten team is Wisconsin, actually, if I'm not mistaken. It's it's so far away. Like, dude, like they're gonna have to travel so much, and like
I mean,
the Big
because
Ten, the Big Ten is so like close together, in
it
that
is.
one eastern spot of America, and then you got not only a Western team, but the most Western state you can get to, all the way over there. They're coming all the way. Like it's just crazy. As far as demographically, recruiting wise, will it help them? I don't think it's gonna be that big of a difference, honestly, because USC and UCLA. I mean, maybe for UCLA a little bit more, but USC still get about the same kind of quality as I think Big Ten, honestly, as far as recruitment. Just from the namesake, location, all that. Um, SoCal, so I don't think it's a big deal as far as recruiting. As far for USC, I don't think it's going to be that much of a jump unless they I don't know. I mean, especially now that Lincoln Riley's there, they've been getting a lot bigger recruits now anyway.
I've heard
So,
people say this. Now, I don't know, and I don't really want to discussing this from a USC perspective. If Notre Dame were to join the Big Ten, it would help. It would help both of them teams.
correct. I agree with
It
that.
would help USC, and they would like to play Notre Dame on a more consistent basis. They're always big games. They sell out every time they play each other. They're big games. I understand. I would get that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I don't get is it's not going to help them recruit, because if you're a kid that's going to go to the Big Ten, you're probably from the area that we're discussing right now.
Correct.
Okay, now could it help you get a kid from Texas that may want to go to the Big Ten? Maybe. Colorado, some of them teams, maybe. But I don't see how, between that and how the schedule is going to work out, I don't see the reason for it. I just don't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because you're gonna have to play those Big Ten teams, and like, all right, let's say USC and UCLA are recruiting those Big Ten type of players, the kids in that area. That means they're moving all the way from the Northeast all the way to the West, just to keep going back to the Northeast.
remember when Tua was being recruited? He was being recruited by Oregon, USC, UCLA, mostly because he was from Hawaii.
Yeah,
And then he decided to go to Alabama at the last minute. You're like, ooh, that's a little strange. It's a little bit farther than you would have thought he would want to travel. Imagine if you're a kid on the West Coast now thinking about going to it's like taking a kid that wants to go to Penn State, and now you're going to take them all the way out to the West Coast. I mean, I don't get that. I don't understand why you would do that. You're not. I think if you're a player from the Northeast corridor of the country where we're from, and you're a Big Ten quality player, you're still going to go to Penn State, Pittsburgh, Nebraska, Wisconsin, as opposed to going to a USC or a UCLA. I don't see why they're doing it, unless they're just trying to improve their recruiting academically. Because let's face it, down West Coast, the Pac-12 is not a great even an academic conference, but the Big Ten is a step up in academics. So maybe that plays a part in it. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't see the advantage in it. That's what I got. Like, we're all football fans, and we all probably played a little football somewhere, and we're always looking for an edge. I don't see an edge here.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you, Ray. And it's just weird because, like you said, what is the edge? And then it's like, are these teams really jumping ship because they disagree? They don't like the conference line. If that's the case, I get that. But it's like they're coming in twos. So you're telling me two teams at the same time decide, hey, we don't like this. We're not like how this conference is being run. We're going to jump ship at the same time.
I will also say this, though. If you're going to be those teams and compete in the Big Ten, you're going to have to worry way more about line play than you do right now.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
USC's offensive line has been crap for 5 seasons now. You go to a Big Ten team with that offensive line, you're going to get massacred, okay?
Yeah. No, I agree, right? And it's just like, I don't know. Maybe they just want to compete with, bigger names. Like
is it a better conference? No, here's the thing. Is it a better conference than what you're playing in now? Absolutely. The Big Ten Conference, from top to bottom, is a better conference than the Pac-12, without a doubt, without no question about it. But is that all you're worried about? Yeah. That's fine, okay. But again, if you take what you've done, what UCLA and USC do, is their offensive, like, USC's a little more pro style than UCLA. UCLA wants to spread you completely out and try to find big plays. That's Chip Kelly's offense. That's what he does. Yeah. USC does that usually too, but they're a little more pro ready, those kids playing, than they do most of the other, Big 12 teams out there. But I still don't think you're going to compete with Big Ten teams. You're going to lose big time to Michigan up front. Ohio State is going to destroy you. Even a team like Penn State usually has good linemen and will beat up on you. Michigan State usually has quality linemen. So what is your – you could be in the Big 12 or Pac-12 and play subpar defense and outscore teams. You're not going to do that in the Big 10. It's not going to happen.
No, I agree. So it's going to be interesting to see. Real quick, what is your take on all this movement as far as teams going to different conferences? I see some things where people are starting to predict that we're going to have only like 4 conferences at one point.
I hear that too. Like there's going to be like 2 super conferences and then 2 lower level type of conferences. I don't think that the college football really wants to let that happen. Mm-hmm. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. Could it happen down the road? I guess anything is possible. But I don't – if you're going to do that, then the whole playoff format is for nothing then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's for nothing because you already know them 2 conferences, if you build them that way, are going to get – if you have 8 teams making the playoffs, you're going to get 7 of them. Mm-hmm. If they take it up 10, 12, then you're going to have like 8, 10 that where they're always going to be from them 2 conferences. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean,
yes.
So what are you going to do if you do that and then you have like 2 lower conference teams and then them teams go 12-0, 11-1 against their conferences? They're still going to get steamrolled against some other 2 conferences now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So why? I mean, this is a thing where people sit in an office and they have too much time on their hands. They're not doing enough with their time. So they come up with these great ideas, which are not great ideas. Here's a great idea. If teams want to move around from conference to conference, I can't stop them. I'm not going to do it again. Leave college football the way it is. It's almost perfect. If there weren't so many lawyers involved, it would be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the way I heard it, it was going to be a SEC, obviously. It's going to be a Big 10. It was going to be ACC and a Pac-12. Pac-12 not including USC and UCLA, obviously. Because
that's the point. A Pac-12 not including USC and UCLA is what?
Oregon.
It's wow.
Oregon, Utah.
That's great. Okay, so you're talking about 2 of the better teams in the conference. That's great. What are they competing against, though? Right.
It's I don't know. It's weird what's going on, man. And I'm hearing more and more about it, and it just the fact, like the way these teams are moving now. I mean, we already got Texas and
Oklahoma
going to SEC now. Now we got UCLA and USC going to Big 10. I don't think this is going to be the last change. Right?
You know what's crazy about it? If Texas were going to go to the Big East, or Oklahoma were going to go to Big East, and then Oklahoma or Texas were going to go to the SEC. I'm sorry. You say USC was going to go to the SEC. That makes more sense to me.
I agree.
You're talking about Southern California.
Yeah.
Geographically, you're right there. Like you're all the way down the bottom part of the state, and you're probably like a few hours away from Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand what you're doing. Again, yes, you'll probably get more good players that may go to you now because maybe you'll be able to tell the kids that are leaving Texas, Oklahoma, and going to play in the SEC. Well, no, now you can just stay here because now we're in the SEC. I got that part. My problem is, are you going to compete at the same level as you would in your conference right now? And I don't think you will. That's all.
So my last question to you, right, is if this happens and you start seeing it like obviously, I don't think anybody's going to jump ship as far as players immediately when this happens because they don't know how the schedule is. They might just be excited to see how it goes. But once they start realizing how much traveling is going to be, you think kids are going to start jumping ship off these teams? Maybe like,
I think
I need to.
I think it'll be an option for them.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, imagine like now you're talking about you got UCLA 2 years from now, USC. Now they're Big 10 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to want to play all their games after 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Out there. Yeah. So you're talking about 4 o'clock here now.
There you go, and that's another thing too, because a lot of the Big 10 for 1 o'clock games.
Yeah, exactly. So now you're talking about making kids fly out of LA or wherever they're from out there, wherever they practice at, come in here and they're playing a game at like 10 o'clock in the morning to them.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean they're.
I love
unless they're flying the night before, they're getting up really early for that flight.
Yeah, that's just nuts. I mean, you're talking about like completely changing what their usual schedule is now.
Correct. Yeah,
and I like the idea of playing games. Like I like the late night games because I get to sit there by myself and just watch the game. I tell you that all the time. I love the late games on a Saturday night, the 10, 11 o'clock games. I love them games because I sit there and watch the whole game and no one bothers me. No one's calling me then. I'm not worried about work, blah, blah, blah. But now them games are going to be like Utah against who? Because usually I'm saying to watch UCLA play Utah or USC. Fresno State. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I'll probably still watch it because I'm a junkie, but I won't get the same enjoyment out of it. I like watching teams beat USC.
Yeah.
Some of that fun. First couple years in the Big 10, they're going to the rear ends kids. So it'll be fun.
Well, I also hear that USC will definitely play Notre Dame a lot more now that when they go to Big 10 now because
you know what that would for me that would be a good thing because I like beating USC. It's always fun.
Definitely. All right, let's get to our last topic, guys. And we're going
one more thing. Now that they have Lincoln Riley, I'll enjoy it even more. So,
true. That's funny. All right, last topic. We're going to be getting to our rankings of the top 10 not quarterbacks. Coaches of the 2022. So this is something that was requested before, and we're gonna be talking about it. So if you guys haven't seen our previous podcast, we've been ranking conferences and teams, things like that. Now we're ranking coaches. So we're gonna get into that, and then eventually we're gonna start doing some players and stuff like that. But right now we're gonna do coaches. We'll probably do players a little bit closer to the season. But Ray, I don't have a top 10. Because I'm not good at ranking coaches. So I'm going to let you take the wheels on this, and we're going to discuss it. So, number 10, who you got?
Kyle Whittingham from Utah, as a matter of fact. 144 wins, 70 losses. Very good coach. He's done a really good job at Utah for the last few years. So, I have him at number 10.
You know what's funny about Utah, though, Ray? That you never hear them, as big recruit guys. I mean,
they don't. They get some Samoans from out there though. They do take advantage of the Polynesians out in Hawaii and stuff. They get some of them players, and from being out there, I know them kids are stud athletes, man, and they're tough, physical, strong-minded kids, man. They really are. So
they are.
Number 9, I have your buddy Jim Harbaugh.
Okay. Right, honestly, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if I would have put him in the top 10 right now. Right outside of I didn't make a list, so I can't say for sure.
Yeah, I still think that Jim Harbaugh is a good coach. So I mean, I'm not gonna shy away from that. I think he's a good coach. I think that I've told you before. I think he gets a little caught up in his persona as Jim Harbaugh, the hard ass, and then he thinks he has to prove to everybody who don't think he knows how to manage. Truth is, he doesn't manage quarterbacks well. He just doesn't. Even go back to San Francisco, hit Alex Smith and benched him.
Yeah,
he doesn't manage quarterbacks well. That is an Achilles heel for him. But as far as knowing good physical type football, when Jim Harbaugh does that, he's a good coach. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he was a former quarterback, so I can kind of see that. Like,
the crazy thing is, though, he was a good quarterback who was a solid athlete, solid arm talent, and worked his butt off.
yeah,
To me, it's what he doesn't understand, though. That's him. That's not going to be every other quarterback, though. So, if you have guys that are smart and play efficiently, leave them alone.
mm-hmm.
Don't jerk them around and think that you have the next shiny new toy. If you're winning games, do it. I mean, now that's the only thing that scares me about this year because they had the two quarterback again. And then what is going to happen? And here's the thing: like playing a two quarterback system is not a great situation to begin with. Mm-hmm. But not being a coach who has a tendency to pull quarterbacks all the time is even worse.
Yep, and that's all we was talking about our rankings and stuff like that. And I had Michigan a little bit lower, and a lot of it was because I don't know what's going on with that quarterback position. I really don't.
I think we both know that both quarterbacks are solid players.
Correct.
Now, I think that if you have McCarthy out there, you can run the ball a little bit more with him because he can zone read and he can run the ball a little bit and some option stuff. But I don't think he's as good a passer, so that's going to hurt your passing game. So turn around and hand the ball to the running backs, man. Just make it simple for your quarterback and don't jerk. Excuse me, don't jerk him around all the time. Just let him play. You know. Yeah. So all right. Number 8, I have Lincoln Riley. I know some people would probably have him a little higher than that. As an offensive mind, he's a supreme offensive mind. He is. As a head coach, when he achieves more than he's done right now, I'll put him a little higher. But right now, I have him at number 8. So,
yeah, I think it's more that he's really good with the quarterbacks, honestly, than anything. Because look at Lincoln Riley the last 2 years; he failed to run the ball a lot. So I think that he kind of get in his own head as he got that a little bit of Andy Reid in him, in a sense, where Andy Reid be like, I got a quarterback, I gotta throw, and like every once in a while, Andy Reid be like, yeah, let me start running it. Like I need to start running it again. But like Lincoln Riley don't do that. He just like pass. Oh wait, we do have a running back, you know. So I think I think that messed him up a lot last year with Spencer Rattler. Learn to run the ball.
Yeah, well, that's my other thing. Like, I do think Lincoln Riley is a good offensive mind. I just worry about the fact again that he gets a little pass happy at times. So
yeah,
we'll see. Again, I think he's a good coach. But I can't have him in my top 5 college coaches right now. I just can't do it. So, you know. Number 8, number 7, I have Brian Kelly, LSU.
Your boy.
And, well, I mean, I heard it put in great terms earlier. I was listening to something. Brian Kelly won a lot of games at Notre Dame. Did a good job, Notre Dame. Didn't win enough important games at Notre Dame, though.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. Did a good job.
True.
Is a good coach.
Yeah.
Didn't win enough important games, though. But won a lot of games. So he gets credit for winning a lot of games. He's got to be in my top 10. The guy has over 160 wins. So he's, you know.
True.
Okay. At number 6, I have Luke Fickle from Cincinnati. Or as I term him, Brian Kelly's kryptonite. Every time they play against Cincinnati, we always play like crap. But anyway. No, I like Luke Fickle. He is a guy who only has 54 wins, but coaches a team that's not loaded with talent, and he just seems to put good offensive game plans, good defensive game plans together on a consistent basis right now. So I think Luke Fickle is a good coach. There was a lot of talk about if Notre Dame was going to hire an outsider to be the coach. Luke Fickle would have been the guy they'd have went to first, probably.
Wow.
So, Number 5, I have Jimbo Fisher from Texas A&M.
Number 5. Okay.
Number 5. And number 5 had Jimbo Fisher. Could have put him 4. Some people would probably have him at number 4 over who I have at number 4.
I gotta see who you got.
But I have Ryan Day at number 4.
Mm.
Okay. Jimbo Fisher has more.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. I try not to be biased with Ryan Day, but I don't see much from him yet. Still, I don't know. Maybe I'm very slow to praise people, especially when they inherit something really well. I think he's going to his. Is this his 3rd season or 4th season at Ohio State?
4th season.
So he's going to his 4th season. I think after this year, if he stay consistent, then I think I'll give him more praise. But like, I don't know, and it could just be my bias. It could just be, but I'm not high on him yet. I'm not high on him. I feel like I got to see more.
I agree with you. I think here's my thought on Ryan Day. I think that he's going to have a lot of pressure on him to win this year. Ohio State is picked as a top 3 team, so he definitely is going to feel a little heat if they don't perform well. Correct. But I also will say this. He has done a good job at Ohio State. He has a 34-4 record there and has won a national title. So, I mean, some people I know would have Jimbo Fisher higher than Ryan Day. And I'm not saying – I understand Ohio State is a better program right now and has had more talent. Here's why I think Ryan Day now, when he coaches the next couple of years, he's going to be probably the first time he's not going to have any players from the previous coaching staff. Urban Meyer's been gone for 5 years now. So all the players that he's going to be coaching in the next couple of years are probably going to be his recruits, and we're going to see how they play.
Exactly.
So that's big for me. It is. But if you look at it, Jimbo Fisher's been at Texas A&M for 5 seasons and is 34-14. So already Ryan Day is 10 games better than him.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just again, it is Ohio State. They are a loaded program, but I'm judging what Ryan Day has done the first 3 years. To me, I think he's a top 5 coach. Now, if he
don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not trying to say Ryan Day's bad. I just like to take that wait and see approach, especially when there's a guy inheriting a really good team. Like when what was the Oregon's coach that came right after Chip Kelly and it was winning that first year, and then after that they started slowly declining. Coach name, but it's that same thing for me. It's just like I gotta see a few years after that Furious coach left when there's a very successful team. So
I do agree with that 100%. But I think that Ryan Day has done a good job in his first few years at Ohio State. He's won a national title. He's a good offensive mind. He is. Without a doubt, he's a very good offensive coach. I'm not going to. Yeah. I don't think anybody would really try to argue with me on that. I think the guy's a good offensive coach. He coaches wide receivers extremely well. Okay, so I'll give him that also. Here's where, to me, he's done more to be there than a Lincoln Riley, who I would probably describe as the same way. He's a good offensive mind, but hasn't achieved enough for me to put him in the top 5. I think Ryan Day, as of right now, has done enough to be in that top 5 spot. But again, the next couple of years will be a really strong determining factor on how good of a coach I think Ryan Day really is. So
definitely.
Okay, number 3, I had Kirby Smart. Again, 66-15 lifetime record at Georgia. Has won 2 national titles. The guy's a very good defensive mind and a good head coach. I still think he kind of got lucky last year with Alabama losing their top 2 offensive receivers. But I'm not going to take credit from him because he's a good recruiter and he puts good defenses together and he's a good head coach. So,
I'm curious who you got number 2. I kind of know who that is right now.
That was Sweeney.
Wow, so you don't have Marcus Freeman at all?
No. Wow. Marcus Freeman has not done anything as a head coach yet, Jerome.
I agree. I agree.
He has not done anything. And you know what? What I just said about Ryan Day, I love what Marcus Freeman has done as a recruiter, and I understand that recruiting is a large part of what we're talking about.
Correct.
But I still only judge wins and losses, man.
I appreciate that, right?
Okay?
I really do.
I think he's a very good defensive coach, and I think he's going to do a good job. But until I see him do anything on the field, I wouldn't have him in my top 50. I had to see it on the field. I mean, like, I just got done saying Ryan Day, the next 2 years will be really help the determine factor how good the coach is. I can't do that for Marcus Freeman for 3 years.
Yeah.
Right now, he's going to coach Brian Kelly's players for the first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, we'll see how good. But I'm not going to say Marcus Freeman has done a better job recruiting than Brian Kelly did.
Oh, 100%.
I'm not going to argue that part of it.
Yeah, we definitely talk
about
that.
Winning football games, I only judge that when I see them.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely. All right, cool, man. All right. I'm sorry for cutting you off. So your number 3 was who?
My number 2 is Jimbo Sweeney.
That was Sweeney. I'm sorry.
150-36, 2 national titles, and we know Clemson is a good program, and they've been a decent program, but they're good because Jimbo Sweeney is a good coach and a good recruiter. So,
right.
I'm not going to hem and haw about that. I think Jimbo Sweeney is a very good coach. I think that he is a really good offensive coach and a good offensive mind. I do worry about their defensive coordinator being different this year because they've had the guy who's been there was now at Oklahoma, and he's been a very good defensive coach.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Jimbo Sweeney recruits good players, and I think he's going to be fine. So,
Correct.
And, of course, I got Nick Saban number 1. I mean, is there anybody really that's close?
No.
There's no one really. Is there? I mean, there's no one really even close, right?
No.
I mean, like,
as far as a coach, as far as a recruiter, as far as winning national titles, I mean, who can you really compare to him right now?
Nobody.
Nobody.
I mean, Sweeney has 2. He's got
check of the NCAA.
There's really like Nick Saban has 7 national titles now. I mean, like, there's no one even close. And there's anybody who thinks he's not going to win for one next year or this year?
Yeah, and now you got another year with Bryce Young. And,
it's just ridiculous, man. Like
quarterback position.
Here's the thing: I prepared to bring this up on purpose. Okay, now if you look at the coaches I have after him, Jimbo Sweeney, Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, Jimbo Fisher, Luke Fickle, Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley, Harbaugh, Whittingham. And I have Mike Gundy for Oklahoma State. If I was going to slide him in at 10, and then I was like, nah, I'm going to leave him right outside my 10. But they're good coaches. Are any of them great? Besides for Saban.
Yeah. Not even close.
Okay, so if you remember about 3 years ago, when me and Alan were doing the together, we had remember our debate was who's better? Is it Nick Saban or is it Bear Bryant? Remember that?
Yeah.
Now here's what I'm going to bring up about that. Now, Bear Bryant was a great coach for 30 years, won multiple national titles. I think he won 6 or 7 at Alabama. And the debate was, well, who's better coach? Nick Saban or, Bear Bryant? And the thing is, don't you usually judge players, teams, coaches on who they're competing against also?
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen to me. Bo Schembechler, Joe Paterno, Eric Parseghian, Tom Osborne, Woody Hayes, Bobby Boughton, John McKay, Lavelle Edwards. They're the coaches that Bear Bryant had to compete against.
Jeez.
Who's better now?
Jeez. How many titles? Bear got 6, right?
What's that?
Bear got 6.
6, yeah. I think
I think Nick Saban, if he gets, especially if you get like 1 or 2 more, he's gonna take that spot. I think, but Yeah, I would say Bears do like you saying like that. College football was
If
different back then, man.
Bo Schembechler, Joe Paterno, Eric Persiezen are better than any coach in college football right now except for Nick Saban.
I
And
agree.
it's not even close.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, I throw Tom Osborne in there. The guy's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Woody Hayes is an icon. I mean, Bobby Bowden.
Yeah.
I mean, or any of them other coaches even in the same like the same vocabulary. I mean, like it's wow.
That's some legends right there, right?
I mean, Lavelle Edwards coached at BYU for like 40 years, and guys like Andy Reid and them guys that went to BYU or know of Lavelle Edwards will tell you he's the greatest offensive mind ever in college football.
Yeah. Those are the days, man. Those are the days. That's what got me into college football, man.
You know what's funny?
Honestly, that's why I'm not like, as a Michigan fan, I don't necessarily hate Penn State because when they had Bobby Petrino, man, that was some good times because you know we live so close to them and see the era of like Penn State, like you know it was kind of hard not to root for them, especially when Bobby Petrino was there and they was doing their thing. Obviously, all the scandals and stuff like that kind of like hurt the prestige a little bit, but I think that you know those years, man, there was some good years where you had some real strong college football, really strong.
Bo Schembechler is a Michigan icon,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets replaced by Lloyd Carr, who was a very good coach.
Yeah,
I mean, like it's just the college coaching back in that era, man. My God, wow.
Yeah. Wow. And it was a lot more long lasting coaches still. Like
it was all of them guys that I named actually coached the same programs for like decades.
Yeah,
you know, like
man. But that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Thank y'all for coming on. We do appreciate y'all coming on with the RPO College Football Podcast. We are coming on a different night, so we do appreciate everybody that's in here. We got a few people that's just in here, man. So we do appreciate being in here. If y'all want to leave a comment in here real quick, yeah, definitely can. This is a live podcast. We do put your comments on here as well. But if you don't want to put it in here right now and you don't want to put it, you can put one in there later. If you wasn't able to watch the whole thing, go back on our YouTube channel, like and subscribe. You got it right down there where you can like and subscribe and do the QR code thing right there. Get all of our social media and things like that. Help us grow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We got a great website, InsideTheHatches.com, where you can find all our content on there as well. And we do this all year round, man. We even when the slow period is going, we're all 24/7, man, in football. So that's just us, Inside the Hashes. So this is the RPO College Football Podcast. This is my humble host right here, Mr. Ray Roberts. I'm Jerome Jones. Guys, thank y'all so much for checking us out. Again, please make sure you go check us out on the YouTube. Like and subscribe. Make sure you put that notification button on so you know where we are live, so you can put your comments in here. We do appreciate Mr. James for being in here, put his comments in here as well. So, guys, thank y'all so much once again. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. Y'all stay safe out there and stay blessed. Thanks again, and see you next week. Peace.